And good morning. Jason Brick here with another in our interview series for Willamette Writers 2014. I'm here today with one of our presenters on our Masters series who will be doing 3 classes. And I'm very, very excited to be working with him because in addition to being a successful writer and a presenter at the con, he's one of my personal friends and most valued mentors. So, real quick, could you tell everybody else who you are and where you're coming from?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jack Rochester, and I'm coming to you from Boston, Massachusetts, or as we like to say here, Boston, USA. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Jack. And Jack is not just a masshole. He's actually an extremely intelligent, extremely talented writer.
Yeah, because I go to New Hampshire, too.
But tell us a bit, Jack, why are you famous and successful enough to speak at Willamette Writers?
Well, I don't like to think of myself as famous, and fame is certainly not something that I seek. My whole thing is connecting with people, sharing ideas, sharing the beauty of the written word, sharing the fun that comes with writing and reading. That's where I'm at. And as far as having any fame doing that, if I have had some fame, that's cool. I had a best-selling book in 1983, but who cares about that? That was a long time ago. I just write. I have a wonderful website, blog site that I'm managing now called Fictional Cafe, and Jason is one of the baristas on Fictional Cafe, I'm proud to say. And other than that, I am a ghostwriter. I write books for business people and don't put my name on the cover, and I write novels. So to be able to come to the conference at Willamette is coming back home for me because I lived in Oregon for a couple of years when I was first starting my publishing career. So things are kind of coming all the way around full circle, just like T.S. Eliot said.
Outstanding. And when it comes to writing in a career, you've been in the business a long time.
I have.
You're in many ways a triple or quadruple threat in terms of your experience in the industry. Could you talk a bit about that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I started off in college textbook publishing as a traveling representative. I visited colleges and met professors who were interested in our books and also interested in writing, and I developed quite a few of those professors into textbook writers, and that was great training for understanding the process of putting together a book proposal and how to pitch a publisher on your book idea. And that kind of transmogrified over time into developing the full skill set of what I like to say is a knowledge of both sides of the desk as an editor, and then eventually as a writer. I wrote several textbooks myself, and I really, to tell you the truth, credit my textbook writing with being a good novelist. I learned how to organize, how to structure, how to keep things connected. I remember a story about a writer who shall remain nameless because we don't want to embarrass her, but who shopped a book for about 5 years, a novel, and during that time had agent after editor after agent say, gee, it's kind of interesting, but there isn't a plot. So, you know, there's a lot going on, and of course I know this conference is about nonfiction, and nonfiction is my sweet spot because I was an editor for about 12 years for 3 different publishing companies, and then I wrote 11 nonfiction books of my own, and now I write, as I mentioned before, I write for others on a ghostwriting basis, and so I think I have a fair amount of experience to share and some good things that people will walk away with.
Outstanding. Want to throw a quick correction out there. The conference actually serves fiction writers, nonfiction writers, and script writers. We're bringing you in specifically on our nonfiction business track. And one of the things I'm really excited about the con is that we hadn't been dealing with the business side of writing particularly well in recent history. And last year we ran a handful of classes on the business and technology of writing, which were SRO, standing room only. 110 people jammed into an 80-person room. And so I've been able to convince the board to allow us to expand our nonfiction and business of writing offerings because that's really the place that people really need to know more about if they want to have a career in writing. And I'm so glad you're coming out to help spearhead that particular effort.
Well, I agree. When you first pitched me on coming out, that was the part that was good for me because, first of all, I don't believe you can teach somebody to be a creative writer. You can teach somebody to be a good nonfiction writer. There are specific skill sets to doing that. And so I was really happy that I wasn't being asked to write about fiction or to teach about fiction, but instead to focus on the nonfiction. And let's get real about this, Jason. If you want to make your a professional career out of writing, you got to write nonfiction.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people that are out there. I keep coming across them all the time who've written 10, 15, 22 novels that you've never heard of a single one of them or the author. But in nonfiction, you can make a living, and I have made a living as an independent professional writer, having my own business, Joshua Tree Communications, which became Joshua Tree Interactive, for 30 years. Started in 1983. I have made my living 100% as what we used to call freelance writer. And I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I made a living. Yeah.
Make good money. I mean, nonfiction, you know, the talk that I give at some conferences, the 9 habits of highly profitable writing, rule 1 is write nonfiction because the market's better and the pay is higher. I mean, fiction is very much like a lottery ticket. You're not going to make Stephen King or J.K. Rowling money writing nonfiction, but a lottery ticket, buying lottery tickets every day is not a viable strategy for feeding your family and sleeping indoors.
Very true. Very true.
So let's take a minute and could you tell us a bit about what you'll be presenting at the Con this year?
Oh, I'd be happy to. As you know, we structured this in a way as if it were a step-by-step process, and I hope people will think of my presentations in that way. The freshman course is your professional writing career, and excuse me. You can edit this out, right? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
The freshman level course is your professional writing career and why you need to get focused on a subject about which you're passionate. I really think that's important. I have made the mistake a couple of times of taking on a project or an assignment writing about something I really didn't give a damn about, and it didn't turn out as well as the stuff that I really, really was passionate about. How do you get passionate? Well, by broadening your experience, doing the old Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing and finding out what your sweet spot is. And then I'll talk about a primer, the 3 phases of revision, how to develop a marketplace for your submissions, how the marketplace works and differs regarding your writing style and the content of what you're writing about, and then how to keep honing these skills that you're picking up into a really sharp edge that will get you more and more work as you progress. So that's the Frosh course. The senior level course is You Can Do It, and you should, writing your own first book. So you've developed these skills and interests from the 10,000 hours perspective. Now let's put the foot to the pedal to the metal, and begin thinking about a book of your own, because I'll tell you from personal experience, there is nothing that can be as good a business card for your career as a book with your name on the cover. So let's go after that. Let's find out what people are thinking about, what your sweet spot is, and see where those two converge, and get started on a book that addresses this. One of the really big things that's been happening for the last few years in business books is innovation. How to do it, how to get it, what do you do with it once you got it? Everything imaginable, and the innovation books are still selling very actively. And you'll find out in business in particular that there are fads like this that wave through the reading and writing, the literature for business professionals. So you might look at some of the things that people are saying in the headlines of the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times business section and start thinking about those for topics. I'll show you how to, or describe for you how to write a formal business book proposal, and that becomes your business plan for writing the book. What are you going to do with it once you're finished with that book proposal? We will get into that as well. How you take it from an idea to a book, one chapter at a time. We'll go over that. So the third course is the MBA level, and that's ghostwriting, which I call the ultimate writing challenge, because you have to do a Spockian mind merge into the mind of this business person whom you're going to write for, and get inside their skull, get inside their tone of voice, their humor, their seriousness, their ideas, and once you have a firm grasp on their persona, you can start writing the book. How do you do that? Well, there are interviews, working together. I've got a stepwise process, 4 steps for how to develop an author client to the point where they say, yes, now I'm ready to write this book. And then you get together and do that. So there's at that point you become sort of a part of that mind and use your writing developmental skills to bring that author client's ideas into fruition so that it's a really good book, because the last thing you want to do is write a run-of-the-mill or a crappy book for a client. It's hard to get more business after you do that. So those are the three levels of courses that I'm going to be offering. The freshman, your professional writing career. The senior, you can do it, write your first book. And the third, MBA ghostwriting, writing somebody else's book.
Outstanding. And you'll also just be around at the con all weekend, so if folks they see your classes and want to hear more about what you have to say about some other topics, you'll be happy to sit down over a cup of coffee and shoot the breeze, yeah?
Listen, I like nothing better than doing that. I love to talk to other writers and share ideas and experiences, and if possible, be helpful for them in their own writing career. I really do. I seriously love it.
Outstanding. And you'll also have a few copies of your newest book, Madrone, right?
Yes, I will.
Get their own signed copy.
Yes. I just finished my second novel in the Nathaniel Hawthorne Flowers series. The first was called Wild Blue Yonder. That came out 2 years ago, and I've just published, just within the last couple of weeks, the sequel to that, which is Madrone, and I will have copies there. Yes.
So I'll wrap up with a question I always love to end an interview with, which is, what do you wish people asked you about more often?
What do I wish people would ask me about more often?
Yeah.
How do I turn my interest and my experience in writing into a lifestyle for myself? And I come by some of my experience from my family. My mother was a painter. She was an artist, and she dibbled and dabbled around. And then when she and my father divorced, the route at that time for a woman with children was to get a job selling lingerie in a dress store. And my mother said, I'm not going to do that. I'm a pretty darn good painter. I'm going to open a little studio and paint portraits and some of my own art for people, and I'm going to teach art classes. And she became the first true entrepreneur in our family, and the model she set was just phenomenal. She did it all on her own. There weren't any other people who were doing that kind of thing, women who were doing that kind of thing in the art business at that time. And I've always been so proud of her, may she rest in peace, for what she gave to me and to my brother Greg, who is also a painter and followed in her footsteps. So the question I wish people would ask me more often is, what's that process? What's that process like? Because I really think in terms of process. Everything I do is process. Even if I'm working on my novels, that's still process.
Outstanding.
Okay.
Jack, thanks for taking the time with us today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it too. It'd be nice to be back in Portland again. where I can watch Portlandia live.
Yeah, just by walking down the street.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Okay,
thanks,
man.
We'll see you on August 1st through 3rd at the Willamette Writers Convention.
Thanks, Jason. Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.